morning. We are going to begin working with some mathematical concepts, and I reviewed all the assignments in Google Classroom, and it appears we are missing some info on exponential terms. So we're working through standard 8.EE.1. Learning target is I can identify and simplify exponential terms. So I'm going to show you this short little video, kind of introduce you to exponents. If it is not something you are familiar with, please don't freak out, because we're going to spend a great deal of time working with exponents, and hopefully in time it'll become easier for you to understand what they are and what we can do with them. So the first and really the main key point I want you to know about exponential terms is that they are just repeated multiplication. So multiplication that just happens over and over again. And the exponent itself is going to tell you how to repeat that multiplication. So I'm going to break it down. I'm going to show you all the different parts of it. And then we'll continue, like I said, to practice throughout the week. So an exponent looks something like this, where you have a larger number and then you have a smaller number. Those numbers can be anything. They can be positive, they can be negative. It does not matter. They can be anything. And depending on how large those numbers are will determine how complicated your problem may be. So when you're working with exponents, the key parts of them, and there's only two. So you have these larger numbers, and all of these larger numbers represent the same part of the exponent. Those are all the base. And then these smaller numbers here that are up in the sky, these are your powers. So your base is on the bottom. The number in the sky up high is your power. And those tell you to do very specific things. So when you're working out simplifying these exponents, you want to start with your base. And then you use your power to tell you how many times to use your base. And you do that for all of these. You start with your base. Use your power to tell you how many times to use your base. Start with your base. This one is negative. And use that power again to tell you how many times to use the base. So now what we have set up here, they're just multiplication problems. So 4 times 4 is 16. 6 times 6 times 6. Well, 6 times 6 I know is 36. Times 6 is 216. Put my equal sign there since I wrote rather large. And negative 17 times negative 17. Two negatives together equal a positive number. So 17 times 17 is just 289. So when you're simplifying your exponents, you're breaking it down like this. You're writing it as a multiplication problem. Then you do the work to solve that multiplication problem. So 4 squared and 16 are the same number. Okay, they're just written differently. Another key point I just thought about that I forgot to mention in the beginning. So when you are reading exponents, if I have 4 with the 2 as my power, there's a couple different ways I can read this. This can be read as 4 to the power of 2. So I start with my base and I end with my power. I can read this as 4 to the second power. And for the power of 2, I can also read it as 4 squared. So anytime I have something to the second power, I can just say my base squared. So if it's 5 to the second power, I could call it 5 squared. So whenever, for any of the ones that we did, it's crucial to remember that we're starting with our base and then we end with our power, so that last part of whatever we say is our power. And we'll do some more practice with that, so don't worry. Just a quick review. Our exponents, they are repeated multiplication. There are two parts of every exponent. We have our base and we have our power. When we simplify our exponents, our base tells us a number to start with. Our power tells us how many times to use it, and then we're just multiplying. Things will get a little bit more complex, but like I said, we're going to ease into this. So we're going to stop right here for now and finish up later.